Welcome to another job comparison video, starring the kaitenless king of DPS, the samurai. Wait, didn't you say that Black Mage is the king of DPS? Yeah, I think they share this agency. However, there had been lots of changes recently that transformed the samurai into one, if not the easiest of all melee jobs, or even among the whole DPS roster. Yes, by removing Kaiten and especially by the 2-stack system on Tsubame Geshi they introduced in Endwalker, Samurai is super simple and falling out of your rotation is actually difficult, because there basically is none. On the other hand, the opener still feels very satisfying and you can easily fall in love with those big crits as well as the strategical Sen system. Yes, Kenki management, which is your job gauge, has been simplified significantly, but managing Sen and big cooldowns is still decently challenging, that this job doesn't get boring quickly. Especially as you have a very significant damage over time effect that needs to be kept on the target, and positionals are still kinda demanding on the samurai, compared to a ninja at least. So when it comes to accessibility, the samurai is a top choice, even though it is locked behind level 50. But like the red mage, just level up any class or job of your choice to that level and have a fluent transition with no other requirements than having bought the Stormblood expansion, which is included in Final Fantasy's base version as well as the complete version. Which means becoming a samurai is really straightforward, just level to 50, get Stormblood and be ready for one of the most Japanese jobs in this game. Which leads us to another reason. While other jobs are mostly fantasy classes and something you could not find in the real world, you never saw someone summon Bahamut, right? But samurais are real. They might not be able to weave this damn cool sword animations, but the swings are getting close, and on top of that the legendary samurai are respected warriors that fought for land and honor. Which leads to an iconic background that is still loved by many weeps, but also everyone with a sense of swordsmanship and swordplay, leading to a deep sense of admiration for the samurai. But it could be even easier for fans of Hero, Tiger and Dragon, House of Flying Daggers, or Ghost of Tsushima, Sekiro, or playing Mitsurugi in Soul Calibur. This job is an absolute classic, and Final Fantasy XIV portrays this icon perfectly. Especially with a heartbreaking job quest that is a classical reference to the old samurai movies and the ideals a samurai stands for. Maybe my second or third most liked job quest in Final Fantasy. Oh, and even in Elden Ring, most speedruns or max early damage builds have chosen a samurai. That serves as a great indication, right? Leading directly to another aspect. However, this is actually possible and by no means I can totally understand why, but the samurai has reached the top spot of DPS again, even though it had its Kaiten skill removed. Like someone in my comment section said, "Oh Square, you have finally set the samurai free of its shackles." Yeah, it seems so, really. Nonetheless, even if it would not be the top DPS right now, there's a very good chance that samurai players find themselves at the highest peak of raw damage. Because that is how Square Enix designed this job and the philosophy and hype behind this iconic sword fighter, I guess. Even they can't deny the cult status of a samurai, so they bent their knee and made it the strongest DPS you can choose. Together with the Black Mage, these two are only delivering raw damage and no offensive buff to other party members or defensive tools that help anyone else than themselves. So when patches don't fall into odd balancings, the samurai is to be expected to lead the chart. And this looks even better whenever you have a dance partner at your side or tons of other buffs, increasing your damage, but also when just slashing down your enemies all by yourself. Basically all the time the calculator spreadsheet will have you in its favor. Another aspect and reason the samurai shares with the Black Mage is the strategic combat. Unlike the other melee jobs that heavily evolve around fast-paced or OGCD heavy attack patterns, the samurai is a calm but precise fighter that builds up its Sen coins and Kenki gauge to release it all together to cause devastating damage to its enemies. Moreover, the samurai commands the strongest damage over time effect in this game, in the form of its Higanbana attack, as well as one of the strongest combos with Ogi and Keshi no Mikiri, that on top of those attacks can be combined with Midare Setsugeka, leading to a mind-blowing 100k to 150k damage burst with just 3 attacks after another. On top of that, you also have buffs to be applied to yourself that need to be managed, and always be precise with Sen route you choose to not overwrite Sen coins, as well as standing right for the appropriate positionals. So samurai feels way more tactical than other melee jobs, while still maintaining a solid pace and fluent combat flow that is only beaten by how much I enjoyed Ninja recently, or how good Reaper had been designed from scratch. But Ninja is way more difficult to start with, and Reaper? Yeah, Reaper is cool as well, but different for many aspects, but more to that in another video. Last but not least, how does the samurai stand compared to its competition when looking at raiding, PvP or duty finder content? I think when it comes to proc rating, especially ultimate content, Monk and Dragoon setups are mostly more preferable. But for everything where raw damage comes into play, nothing compares to the Samurai. Even a Black Mage could fall short because of how Samurai still works together with a Dancer, for example, even after patch 6.1. However, it is not a significant difference to other jobs in that regard, so you won't have a bad nor extraordinarily great experience by just choosing a Samurai over the other jobs. Each and every job has cleared recent content and will do so in the future. But where the Samurai really shines is in player versus player combat. Maybe not the big frontline matches, but at least in crystalline conflict, where the Samurai is a strategical advantage no other job comes close to, except Warrior or White Mage maybe. I mean, just look at the Samurai's limit break and you know that shit is going to get real, whenever that LB gauge is filled. And even on really high ranked matches with top players of our data center, we all fell for the Chitin trap and got deleted in a single blow. Not only that it can turn the tides easily, it is screaming the Samurai spirit so much that every time it happens to me, I mentally bow down to the enemy Samurai virtually and show respect for that sick move. But even apart from that move, Samurai is a solid choice, versatile but also dangerous and kill hungry, with lots of skills to ruin the enemy team's evening. And of course, all this applies to Duty Finder content, as the AoE rotation has been made much more appealing even without Kaiten being a thing. I have lots of fun running expert dungeons as a Samurai, so a very solid all-rounder and the strongest of DPS when it comes to raw damage output. Which means, on the downsides there's really not much to say except that the ninja might be the better option if you still like a bit more complexity, but also want to play a Japanese melee fighter. And if you're looking for the raw damage potential, the Black Mage is an even choice with a totally different approach and role, so if either spot is free for your static, maybe choose accordingly. And as the Samurai requires another battle job to have reached level 50 to unlock it, maybe choose a Monk or Dragoon to make your way to that level, and if you like those already, the Samurai is not more appealing and you should stick with one of your starters, as they are top melee choices as well. And while the Japanese aspect is shining through every fracture, if you lean towards the darker side, there's no other melee choice than a Reaper, which perfectly aligns with the Dark Knight style-wise. And last but not least, Samurai is definitely not a good choice for players that want to support their team or stack up their buffs with others, as it only offers personal selfish damage and not a single tool to help their party except the usual melee role skills. But who needs group support when you are a one-man army? Exactly, you haven't honed your blade in patience and anticipation for the blood that is spilled all over it to just play some DPS games with your target. No, your job is to strike it down and to become the main attacking force of your party. And with a good sense for reason, they know how lucky they are, that even without Kaiten, you are their most powerful weapon. So strike with precision, weave with tranquility, and remember, no job change can bring you down, as you're always moving forward. Until we talk about another job, stay safe, hone your blades, and keep loving Final Fantasy.